So I'm gonna sit like this because my legs are propped up on my bed and it's comfy, so I'm sitting like this. So I want to talk about the history of my server and doing a home server sort of thing. I've talked a lot about it, and I think I've mentioned like the history of it a couple times before too. Let's get into it in this video. That it has failed to be created a couple times, and if it fails again, I'm not even gonna upload this. Anyway, let's get into it. So, where did it start? I remember the day vividly. It was either August 30th or August 31st. Something fell, ignore that. But it was my final day at the state fair. I'd been there the past couple days because of a long story that I've told in a video before. And so it was my final day. I had woken up. I'd been all packed because we were leaving that day. And went outside to watch the parade go by. I was on my phone while waiting for it to start, standing by my suitcase, and I was scrolling on my phone. I was scrolling on eBay because I had been looking for a specific model of old Office PC to turn into a home server. I'd gotten the idea from YouTubers like Linus Tech Tips to do a home server, and so I'd been waiting to find one. And I picked a very specific model because it was the exact same model that one of my friends had ordered to create his own computer by upgrading the parts on. It has a GTX 1650 with 32 gigs of DDR3 and an i7 2700K. Dated by modern standards, and he uses it to run Linux. Pretty good computer, I'd say. But I picked out the model of computer that he picked out, which was an HP Compaq 8200 Elite SFF, with, anyway, yeah, that's the model I picked out. A small form factor. And so I saved it in my eBay search results, and I found one, $45 on eBay, free shipping, and I shot the seller an offer. Remember, this was while I was standing right next to my suitcase waiting for the parade to start at the state fair. And what is my dog barking at? I will be back. Anyway, so fast forward to a week. School had started by that point, and one of my online friends had sent me some SSDs he didn't have. One of them was a 2 terabyte SATA SSD. And so when the Compaq arrived, I put the SSD into the Compaq and installed Windows 10 on it, and that was going to be my server. And then I bought AMP by CubeCoders. 2 mistakes. Bought AMP, Windows Server. Those were mistakes I made, and I shouldn't have. And I didn't really know what to do from there, and so I just let it sit in the living room and forgot about it for a while. Until the same friend who helped me with the same friend who did the custom computer out of the same model of Compaq, he gave me his old hard drive after he helped me clone over my current drive, a 500 gigabyte SATA SSD, to the 2 terabyte NVMe that my online friend sent me, along with the 2 terabyte SSD and a 500 gigabyte SSD that is in my laptop right now as well. Anyway, so when I did that, where was I with this? I forgot. I think did I mention that, like, he gave me the hard drive, my friend who had the computer, he gave me the hard drive that he was using as boot, because he didn't have an SSD. And I gave him my old SATA SSD. Because it was 500 gigabytes, and I had a better one, so I didn't really care. And it was more of like a thank you gift to him, because like he helped me not only clone the drive, but extend the partition. Well, he created a separate partition, but still, and converted it to GPT. All stuff I still don't know how to do. Well, cloning, yeah, I do know how to do. Creating new partitions, yeah, I know how to do, but I still don't know how to convert MBR to GPT. And I probably won't even really learn, because, like, now that Windows 10 is unsupported, there's really no reason to. But, yeah. So he gave me the hard drive, and I cloned over the operating system from Windows 10 with AMP on it over that I'd done for the server. I cloned it over, and once again, just kind of left it. What did I do with the SATA SSD? Well, it's in my computer right now, and I have Linux on it. However, I don't really use it much, and I'm actually thinking of wiping it for some more storage purposes, but it's fine for now. Again, after cloning the hard drive, I didn't really have much else to do. So fast forward a bit. It is now October, and same friend with the computer. He shows up, and I could actually find what day he showed up, because I remember it was the day I got Invisalign, when he just randomly showed up. So he showed up on October 8th. And he brought a super long Ethernet cord, which is still in my room somewhere. I don't remember. I know I might have moved it. I don't remember. And it was so that I could have the server closer to my room so I could actually work on it. And then it got me motivated to actually work on it again. So I wiped the operating system and installed Debian. However, I did it on a 1 terabyte hard drive because I wasn't sure, or a separate 1 terabyte hard drive, because I wasn't sure if the AMP license key would carry over. Spoiler alert, it did. And so then when I figured out it did, I did clone over to the 2 terabyte one. However, I didn't know how to extend the partition, so I messed. It was dual partition scheme, so it wasn't really that great either. But I also did Debian on the desktop environment. Not great for a server. Eventually, and so then I continued working on the server. And I figured out port forwarding and all the IP addresses and all that stuff. I figured out how to do it, and I just kept learning. And so eventually, like, by the time I realized, like, by the time I learned how to, I wasn't even touching my server, like, I wasn't even touching the desktop interface. I was just controlling it all remotely via, like, the terminal and the browser. By the time I did that, I was like, I know I should... My dog's barking again. I should probably reinstall the operating system with something more optimized and partition scheme actually correct. And so I installed Proxmox, because one of my online friends, same one who gave me the drives, recommended it to me. And so since then, that's what I've been using on my server. However, and I'll get into it later. Anyway, so I mentioned I use AMP by Kubecoders. And that requires, like, dicking with the router and the port forwarding and stuff to get that working. I used that for a while. And so after I got that all set up and figured out, I then started working on Jellyfin, and Jellyfin's been the main thing I've been working on since. And, then I eventually set up Nextcloud, but that was after this next part. So I decided that I wanted to do one virtual machine for literally everything on my server for Proxmox, because then I could still, like, dick around with, like, a NAS or a container with a Pi-hole or something eventually. So I decided to create a virtual machine. And in doing so, I messed with it, and I had to reinstall the virtual machine got all messed up, and I was like, you know what? I'm noticing some issues with, like, the main Proxmox host, too. And so I'm just going to reinstall the entire operating system, and so that's what I did for the Proxmox host. I reinstalled Proxmox. And then afterwards, I created a virtual machine with Debian, and I began setting it up. And that's what it's been since. The reason why I wanted one dedicated virtual machine was because of the fact that I wanted to, like, mess with HTTPS. Because then I could actually, like, use my server and it would be more reliable. Because, like, port forwarding port numbers and then accessing them in the browser worked, but here's the thing. I kind of wanted to use my server on the school's Chromebooks. And, well, those have a shit ton of restrictions on them. And so, yeah. I realized I will need to do HTTPS. And so I redirected all my ports to the one virtual machine. And now I barely touch the Proxmox host. The only reason I touch it now is to figure out the temperature, as that's not like carried over in a virtual machine, unfortunately. So, yeah. After doing all this, learning all this stuff with servers, I'm really proud to have learned all this and how to do it. But I also do want to talk a bit about more of HTTPS. The first thing I did with HTTPS was AMP, as that was easy. When you install AMP, they ask, do you want to do HTTPS? Which made it a lot easier. Now I can do it without that. I could do it manually if I really wanted to. It would just involve creating a manual configuration that would point it directly to the correct port number, and so like I know how to do that now. Because I had to do that with Jellyfin and Shell in a Box and Code Server. If you don't know what Code Server is, it's Visual Studio Code in the browser. And then I also had to do it with Nextcloud for that as well. I did all that because then I could do it in the browser on like the school Chromebooks. Oftentimes, like when I'm bored, I'll just like write some simple codes for fun using Code Server on the Chromebooks, or I'll watch a movie on Jellyfin. And so then eventually I decided to ditch AMP completely and switch to the terminal UI for Minecraft, and that's what I've been using since. And initially I decided that because I kind of wanted to do my server to Slackware, but I decided, you know what, maybe no. And so, yeah. I've been using that for Minecraft now. And yeah, that's pretty much it with my server. Like, I've mainly just been adding stuff to my media server. I have Nextcloud if I want to do it. And, you know, I actually should, because then I could literally wipe all the photos and videos on my phone. And I would have so much free storage. Like, it's only 120 gigabytes, and I have more than enough. Anyway, so let's get into the specs of my server. It came with 4 gigabytes of RAM and an i7-2600. No hard drive, no GPU. Just that. Same friend who did the same model to upgrade his computer. He gave me some parts. He gave me some RAM. I mentioned before his old hard drive. And he also gave me his old GPU that came with his. This right here. And what else did he give me? An Ethernet card. So, let's get into it. This graphics card is an NVIDIA NVS 300. It's pretty weak, and it's basically just a display adapter. It would actually make it worse if I were to try and use this for like transcoding and stuff. I want to get a proper GPU for my server eventually, because I would like to be able to put 4K movies on my server and not have it constantly stutter when I'm streaming it. But that also could be like I need more RAM and other stuff too. And so yeah, that's really it for the specs of it.